Hi, I'm Mark Adams with Kingdom Upgrowth. I want to talk to you a little about short-term missions. Specifically, I want to talk about a really important aspect of short-term missions that it might be easy to forget about. Now, there's a lot of wonderful material that's been published and worked through about how we can do short-term missions with greater excellence. We want to lead mission trips that genuinely help and don't hurt. We want to serve with eyes wide open. We want to do everything we can to make a real impact at the places where we're going. Likewise, there's been some good work that's been done on how do we help the people who go to develop spiritually, those of us who get this experience. How do we make sure that we are formed? But the one group of people that so often no one is thinking about is the large group of people who has helped you be able to go on this mission trip. So not just the goers, not just the receivers, but the senders. It's such an important group of people to remember. So when it comes to people who have helped to send another person on a mission trip, I did some original research for my Doctor of Ministry project at Lipscomb University. And I'll say the one thing that really came through loud and clear for me is that mission trips, a short-term mission trip, when your church helps send a group of people on a mission trip, this has enormous potential to renew the missional imagination of your congregation. So all of a sudden, when people have just been caught up in the humdrum normal routines, a mission trip is this wonderful disruption that shakes up the normal routines. Key people are missing. People are out of town. We're praying for them. We get them on the stage. We pray for them. We send them off. There's all these things happening. And in fact, because all this extra stuff is happening, a lot of people might begin to ask that question again. Well, if we can take the gospel other places, what might it look like if we started trying to take the gospel to the people in our own yard, just the people in our neighborhood, the people all around us? Mission trips have the ability to spark that type of imagination, but the key to making this happen is that you have got to connect the people in your congregation to your mission trip, even if they're not going, even if they're not contributing to it. Look for ways to involve them somehow in the process of this trip, and you'll feel a greater sense of unity in your congregation, but also, again, it'll be sparking that missional imagination. So I've got a longer video where I walk through all the details of my research and my findings. I've got a link to that below. But if I could summarize it all just in a nutshell, think about everything that's happening before the trip, during the trip, after the trip, and make sure at all three of those locations you have opportunities where people can somehow be connecting to the trip. So things like the fundraising events can be fun, they can be engaging, people can take part in what's going on and feel good about how they're helping to make this trip possible. But again, at those events, don't just run the event, but pull some time aside to talk about why you're doing this, who it is you're hoping to impact. If you've been to this location before, show some faces, talk about some personal stories of how lives can be changed on these kinds of things. And so do everything you can to let them know what all has been going on and how it could be a real blessing for the people that they're helping, but also it makes them think more about what they're doing at home. While you're on the trip, obviously sometimes contact can be limited, but to the extent that you're able to post on social media, on a Facebook fan page of your church, on an Instagram account. Some people like to write a daily blog of where they've seen God at work. All these things are great for the people back home who will take an interest in what's happening. And then, of course, once you get back, don't just get back and feel good about it. Don't just get back and be settled for some sort of a welcome home thing. But man, carve out some time on a Sunday morning. Allow your mission team people to share at least 10 minutes or so of pictures, stories, encounters. Let people know the way that God was working through your experiences. And again, you might just open up their imagination to how God could also be working here. I like to say that mission trips are this wonderful test tube environment where we can practice being the kinds of Christians that we ought to be all the time. We pull out our best behavior, we put on our best face, we try to be focused on the one thing in life that matters most, and anything we can do to bring that back to our sending congregation, we're going to be better off for it. Getting all of our people to be thinking about, praying about, wondering, what is it that God would do through us if we opened up ourselves the same way that we had been doing there on the mission trip. So just something that's important that you shouldn't neglect. What are you doing to connect the mission trip you go on to all the people who helped to send the group on that trip? Make sure that there's as much of a connection as possible, and then everyone involved at any level can have some sort of spiritual benefit from that trip.